Here it comes again. Lunch. Will it be the same old, same old? Or are you ready to take a vacation from the ordinary with the new Jamaican Jerk Turkey Sub at Firehouse Subs? Freshly sliced smoked turkey breast, craveably sweet mustard sauce, and a hint of Caribbean seasoning. Just $5.55 for a medium. Save time. Order the new Jamaican Jerk Turkey Sub on the Firehouse Subs app. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs. Save more lives. Participating locations. Limited time only, plus tax. Prices may vary for delivery.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you sick of the predictable morons on cable TV? I am. Join millions of people right now. Go to BillO'Reilly.com. That's where you want to get the news. Bill O'Reilly cuts through all the BS and gives it to you straight right there. And you can also pre-order his book, The United States of Trump, which comes out in about 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, I believe. And he joins us right now on the Bernie and Sid Show, does the aforementioned Big Bill O'Reilly. Bill, good morning to you.
McGurk, how you doing, man?
Always good on Friday Eve, Bill. Always good.
So, Bill, let's get right to the business at hand. And usually what we discuss is the president. And again, Bernie talked about your amazing book coming out. Can't wait to read it. So I'd asked you a couple of weeks ago on my Sunday show on sports, how would you rate the week that was for President Trump? And with the Hong Kong stuff going on, the China stuff going on, the Dow Jones taking a couple of dives this week, how would you rate so far the week that is for President Trump?
I think not been a good week for him because economy is everything. And when you have an 800-point drop in one day, everybody gets panicky. I think the Chinese are giving him a much harder time than he anticipated. When I saw him last Saturday, I was covering him at the fundraiser in Bridgehampton on Long Island. I had an actual pen and pad in my hand, and I didn't get to speak to him one-on-one, but I was sitting close to him, and he was mocking me throughout the speech. But he in the talk, basically said these are not easy people to deal with. We knew that, but we figured that there was self-interest on both sides and that they would try to make the trade deal happen. Well, it doesn't seem to be going that way. So I think President Trump understands that he has to have a vibrant economy if he wants to be reelected.
That is very true, Bill O'Reilly. It's always usually about the economy. But the good news for the president this morning is that one of the Democratic candidates, John Hickenlooper, is going to drop out. He was a big threat.
Yes, he was. And I predicted that this week on BillO'Reilly.com. It's about money for these people. So if you read the New York Post today, it lists on page 19 all the Democratic candidates and how much money they're worth. Now, that comes from Forbes magazine, who used to do that to me and never even came close. So they guess a lot. But if you don't have money, you can't hire staff and you can't fly around and you can't do the things you have to do to campaign. So between now and maybe the week after the next debates, which are in early September, I think you'll see probably 10 Dems drop out.
But he talked about Hickenlooper kind of jokingly being a big threat, and of course, we know that's not the case. He was anything but. But the question still remains, Bill. I know we asked this quite a bit, but it still remains, are any of them really a big threat?
Well, I think Biden is a big threat because of name recognition. It's interesting to watch. There's two things going on if you watch the Democratic Party. Number one, they don't want Bernie Sanders. And he knows it now. So Sanders is taking shots at the New York Times and the Washington Post. Sanders is doing the same thing Trump's doing.
But he's had a pretty good week. Those numbers, I know it's very close to Vermont, but those numbers in New Hampshire make it a pretty good week for Bernie Sanders.
I don't believe any of those numbers.
Oh, okay.
I got to tell you, I look at these polls. There was a poll out yesterday, Morning Consult, I think it was, and it had Warren beating Biden or tying Biden, and I looked at how they did the poll, and it was like, is there anybody who'd like to do this poll? Contact us on the internet. Hello? Anyone out there? That's not a poll. So a lot of this is hyperbole. Bernie Sanders has some strength in New Hampshire. He has some. But by and large, the party doesn't not want him because he's white. I mean, he's a white old guy, and that's the worst thing the Democrats could do, is run a white old guy, even if he is a socialist. So they want him out because they feel that then Warren would get his support, and then Warren, I think, is the favorite of the far left, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and they've become far left because they don't want Biden. They fear that Biden cannot articulate anything anymore. And, they say gaffes and this, that, and the other thing. I don't know. I mean, I still think that Biden is the strongest candidate as far as running against Trump. But Biden makes a lot of mistakes, and they're keeping him away from any stressful venues, which is always a signal. They did that to Hillary Clinton. They kept her away. When you're keeping the candidate away, that means they don't have confidence in the candidate.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, I mean, he's made a lot of gaffes. Speaking of having bad weeks, he's had a bad week as well, Joe Biden. But Bill O'Reilly did a great job covering the Fredo flap, and at BillO'Reilly.com, you wrote and then you did a show. Was Chris Cuomo wrong? And you've had some personal experience. Tell us about it.
All right. Look, this is a very complicated issue, and I think that people are taking it as a joke, and there is a funny aspect to it, but it's a serious thing. Somebody's going to get killed. I hate to say that, but I have to warn the nation. The hatred in this country politically is now almost at the level of the Civil War. It has never been worse. And the media drives the hatred. I mean, just this week you've had far-left people saying, we want a recession. We want the economy to tank so that Trump loses. Never mind that families and children would all be harmed if that happens. They want it. Once you get to that level, then you're in irrationality. Okay, so when I'm doing Fox News and, Bernie saw this up close and personal, I'd have security wherever I went. There was a time when I had to have security people live in my house, armed guards. And I didn't publicize it. I didn't talk about it on The Factor because that would have just made it worse. But I had people wanting to hurt me and my family simply because of what I said on television. So Cuomo is a provocateur. I know him pretty well. He started at Fox. A lot of people don't know that, but no. Roger Ailes gave him his first big break. And he's a provocateur. He goes on, and his whole persona is what every primetime host on CNN does. Hate Trump. That's what he does. Okay. He's under orders to do it, and he carries those orders out. So the people who like Trump resent it, and they don't like him. All right. So then he's at some restaurant and with his family around in proximity, and a guy comes up and starts to mock him. Now, what you do in those circumstances, and I've learned this the hard way, I've never had a confrontation like that in the sense that I lost control of my faculties. I mean, I told some people they better get away from me, but I usually call 911 immediately when that happens. I pick up the cell phone, I dial 911 immediately. That stops the intruder cold. And then if it continues, I ask for a police officer to come to the scene. Because I'm not going to mess with these people. They want you to do that so they can film it and put it out on the net. That's what they want. Mm-hmm. All right, you can film me calling 911 and asking for a police officer to provide protection against you. And that's what I do.
And
well, that makes sense. Yeah, you're saying, Bernie, that's why Cuomo didn't respond because he knew that. Exactly. He eventually realized that mid-encounter that was the way to react. You said something, though, that I found curious. Now, I spent 20 years talking about Eli Manning and Carmelo Anthony, and, I don't know anybody, actually, Bill, and I mean this, who's the history buff that you are. You said it's never been worse than this before. No. And I've been told by many people, around 1968, Richard Nixon, Kennedy gets assassinated, Martin Luther King Jr. gets assassinated, the Vietnam War starts to rage, that it was exactly like that.
That's
way back
wrong.
when. It's wrong.
Because you didn't have the media component of trying to destroy people. So Lyndon Johnson, who backed the war and waged it ineffectively and led to the deaths of 55 100,000 American soldiers, okay, he wasn't demonized by the press. He was criticized, but he wasn't, you're the devil, you don't deserve to be in the office, and we want to hurt you every second of the day. That didn't happen to Johnson. They kept it on the issue. Now, yes, it was intense. The Chicago Democratic Convention of 1968 in the streets between the cops and the demonstrators, sure. But that was a targeted political play. We don't want Vietnam. Okay, and then they, extended over to the Black Panthers and stuff like that. But it wasn't every single day. Do you understand how the children of America are processing this? I mean, they're not following it on cable news or listening to daily news wires, but they know their hatred in the air, and they see that adults are condoning it, rationalizing that, oh, this is okay. We can do that. And therefore, the hatred is starting to rise to the level where people are being confronted in the street by political opponents. There are people afraid to wear their MAGA hats because somebody might key their car or do something worse to them. Everybody knows this is happening.
Yes.
And there's no constraint. There's no newspaper or media people saying don't do it.
And that's where you can call out Chris Cuomo legitimately on his hypocrisy, because he has praised Antifa on his show on CNN. He sort of delighted in the Sarah Sanders harassment episode, and all those others like it. So on that count, you can call him out on hypocrisy.
You can say it's a karma play for Chris Cuomo, definitely. But I don't think you want to get on the side of that's a good thing to do. Because, again, I'll reiterate my warning. Someone is going to be killed.
Wow.
And this is not hyperbole. The hatred is at that level. And some unstable person out there, exacerbated by social media, encouraged, could very well commit harm on people. And it's just got to stop.
We saw it with the guy down in Washington, D.C., Steve Scalise. Look, Bill O'Reilly, we're out of time. BillO'Reilly.com is the place to go if you're sick of cable TV, which we all are. And pre-order The United States of Trump while you're there. The book comes out next month. Bill, thank you very much.
Okay, guys,
awesome.
You should have the book either tomorrow or a Monday.
Oh, we can't wait. We can't wait.
Don't sell it on eBay, though. I know how you guys are.
That was awesome, Bill. Thank you, as always. Excellent job. Thank you. Really can't wait to get that book. That's going to be an unbelievable read.